Spent the last several days sitting on the baler and neglecting all of my other responsibilities because of it. So this morning I'm out here at the steer pasture to check on the steers, and I've still got some more baling to do today, but I want to get this done first, and I think by the time I get back over to the hayfield, the hay should be just about right. So I don't see these steers. I'm guessing they're down here in the swamp somewhere. Let's walk down, check it out. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. Last year's steers used to like to get down here under this tree, and I see a lot of sign like they have been here, but I don't see them. Lots of tracks and trails and manure down in here, so I'm sure we're getting close. Oh yeah, it's swampy in here. Where the heck are these guys? Should have brought rubber boots, I think. You can tell they've been back in here. I won't say I'm getting worried, but I'm not getting worried. There's still a couple more places they could be. I've never had this much trouble finding them before, though. I think I caught a silhouette of a steer over here. Come on, boys. What you doing over here? Yep, here they are. We were close. You guys had me worried there for a minute. Callie, come here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7. Well, we found them. That's a relief. This was about the last corner I had not checked yet, and obviously that's where they were. So a field like this, there's really not a big incentive for them to want to like push on fences and get out, because they've got so much feed out here. They've got shade, they've got, you know, they've got everything that they need here. But I guess the concern would be that just through curiosity and looking around, that they might find a hole in the fence and then go for it. So, oh, well, hello there. I didn't know we were this friendly already. Well, they look fine. The flies are starting to take off over here, and I forgot to bring a Redmond block for these guys. The whole time they've been up here, they haven't had salt, and I just keep forgetting. So next time, I think when I get home, I'm just gonna put a block in the back of the truck so that the next time I'm here, I don't have to remember to grab it because I'll already have it. I'm just gonna go check their water, make sure that's all good. There's actually enough water down here in the swamp that if their water trough wasn't working, they'd probably be fine. But still, it'd be nice to know that it is working. I think I'll be up here in a couple days, and I'll just move them then, because it's starting to get a little bit late. I need to get heading back to the hayfield because I don't want to miss my baling window. I'm hoping I can finish today. That's all I need to see. So look out over this field. It looks like there's a lot of bales out here. When I quit yesterday, the bale counter said 260, so I'm just going to assume that it's right. I need to get 320 of these 4-foot bales in order to be even with what I had last year, or to keep the same amount that I kept last year. Anything beyond 320 is just what I call insurance hay, which I am happy to have. I've only got a little bit left to bale here. I'd say maybe a quarter or less, a little less than a quarter of the field. And this side of the field, I could tell when I was cutting it, the yield is by far the worst. So it's really hard to try to predict what is here. We're just not gonna know until it's in a bale. Let's hop back up on the baler. I think I can finish this today, knock on wood, as long as we don't have any mechanical issues or anything else that happens, then we should be all right. Well, I'm getting all geared up to go, and that hay's still probing wet, which is kind of a surprise. It's already 11 o'clock and I was probing anywhere from 16 to 21, which is, it's too wet. And I think the issue is that I've got so much undergrowth on these windrows because we've got morning glory and some other weeds that are kind of popping up through these, that it's holding the moisture into that hay. And this is probably going to take quite a while before it's dry enough to bale. So I think we'll run the baler back up to the shop, and I need to go check on some cattle over at the winter pasture. So maybe by the time we do that and get back, this will be ready to go. When you look out over the grass, it looks a lot more like brown instead of green like it used to. I can see that there is some Bermuda grass trying to pop up through here, and I'd imagine that's a lot of what they're eating now. But I don't think we're gonna be able to stay here too much longer. I think in the next couple of weeks, it's time to go home to the ranch. Looks like we got some cows starting to go into heat, and that's good. Won't be too much longer, we'll be putting the bulls out. It's been about an hour and a half. Let's go try this again. Well, the dust cloud behind the baler tells me it's dry enough, but let's see what the probe says. Mostly 13s and 14s. I did see an 18 though. Well, we've done it. The hay is all baled, made it through. That feels so good. It feels like such a weight lifted off of my shoulders. The yield out here wasn't as bad as I was afraid it might be, but it definitely wasn't as good as it's been in years past either. I was hoping to get 320 bales minimum off of this ground, but I only ended up getting 310, just shy of my goal. Plus a little cute 3-footer bale that was just whatever hay was left in the windrow. Although this looks like one big field from the air, it's actually, I consider it 2 different fields because it's 2 different property owners, and I've been farming 20 acres for several years longer than I've been farming this additional 15 that I'm standing on right now. The original 20 acres actually yielded about normal. It was actually slightly better than what it yielded last year. Where I really got hit hard was on this 15 acres that I'm standing on now. The surplus of rainwater really hurt this ground, and the yield out here was about half, or maybe even a little bit worse than half of what it's normally been. Each one of these 4-foot round bales weighs about 500 pounds, and from this number, we can start to determine our yield per acre, and this year, it's nothing to brag about. On the original 20 acres that I was talking about before, I got about 3 tons per acre, and on this 15 acres here, I got just under 2 tons per acre. To put a little perspective on that, at one point or another, either one of these fields have given me 5 tons per acre. That's an outstanding yield. I wouldn't expect to get that every year, but you know, 3.5, 4 tons, that would be fine too. After my first video about baling, I was talking to you guys about how I was having a lot of trouble getting bales to start in that baler, and a bunch of you suggested a lot of different things, and I really appreciate you guys giving me your input, because as I read through all those comments, I could kind of see trends, or, you know, like if several people suggest trying the same thing, then you could pretty well bank that that's got a good chance of working. And through all of your comments and suggestions, I did come up with a technique to getting the bale to start that actually seemed to work really well. And that was to just ease into the windrow very slowly, let the pickup reel kind of like drag the hay back into the baler. And if I looked in between the belts, I could see when the hay would start to roll. And once the hay started rolling, you could grab another gear, drop the clutch, and go. And it would work awesome after that. It was a little bit of a pain to have to go so slow to get each bale to start, but while that does take time, it doesn't take as much time as stopping every 3rd or 4th bale to clean out the baler because I plugged it up. As things were this year, this took me 4 days to bale everything, and I think I stayed pretty well in my moisture window that I wanted to be in. That is starting at around 16% moisture and quitting at around 11, maybe 10% moisture would be getting awfully dry. Out of all the bales out here, this one that I tipped up on its end is the one that I'm worried about the most, because I'm probing. Even the next day, I'm still getting like 21, 22, as low as 16, but there's still a lot of 20s and 21s in this bale. And I think that we're gonna wait quite a while before we put this one in the barn, if we ever put it in the barn. It doesn't feel warm or anything on the outside, and it's wrapped too tight. I can't like wiggle my fingers in there to feel it. But I'm thinking, if, you know, it's gonna take me quite a while to gather up all these bales and get them moved back to the barn. So if I just kind of save this one for last and it still hasn't started heating up or doing anything weird, I'm thinking it'll be okay. The next step out here is I gotta go around the perimeter of the field with the tractor and move these bales in so that I've got a nice open swath there where I can disc a fire break. Some people might say, well, just pick the bales up and move them home. Don't leave them out in the field, then you don't have to worry about fire. And that does sound good, but the trouble is that it takes me quite a while to get everything moved back home. And I just feel a lot better if I've got a fire break out here, so that I'm not in such a rush to get these bales moved. For the sake of the property owners here, I like to do a fire break in case, let's say, the levee was to catch on fire again. Even if there were no bales out here, that fire would move across this field, and the property owners' houses are right here to the other side of me. So we definitely don't want anything bad to happen there. And as a tenant, trying to be a good tenant, I think that's the least I can do. Not to mention the fact that I'm gonna disc this all up anyway. So when I do come to disc the field, it'll be that much less that I have to do. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.